Gonna be Blood Dagger over for the team too. I love that mount. It's actually still so good. Oh man, whoever worked on it did a fantastic job. Conan on the team, Nagatara, we got so skillful. I love that theme, by the way. I love it. With Chicago going to be first up versus Sensei as an elemental shaman off the bat, knocking him. That's going to be a re-roll for Sensei. Knockback yet again, but doesn't quite go over the edge. Still trying to see if he closes the gap with a lasso, landing him kind of close to Chicago, but not quite. With the route to follow, Chicago's going to have to go for everything in order to catch a bit of recovery. The big lava burst flying in, goes for right after, get himself the generational burrow to follow. Do they have yet another knockback onto Sensei? They may need one right now. It's going to be Earth Shock, maybe Frost Shock. May just need to go for Frost Shocks on the Sensei in order to keep him slowed down, at least rooted. It's going to be yet another Earth Shock, Frost Shock. Chicago barely any health in cap for Sensei. Oh my goodness, there's only so much you could do, but I do appreciate Chicago playing out the elemental. Stun onto Sensei, mad damage out of Conan. Forward for Sensei, trying to see if he can bail out of that. Most likely going to go for port yet again. Disarm onto Sensei, just trying to make sure he doesn't really have himself a proper go. Conan trying to see if he can get back up onto the bridge. He needs a bit more bleeds on the Sensei. Does get a full root on the guy. Fist of Fury trying to see if he can fight through it. The blades with the Dragon Rage as well as Odin's Fury are going to go through. Sensei does end up going for the double hamstring to make sure that Conan is immobilized in place. Does to himself a little bit of that fade damage with a leg sweep. That's going to be Conan breaking out of that stun with the human Rachel. Trying to see if he can maybe turn around. Both Monk and the Warrior are just going full on damage on each other. Going to be disarmament to Conan off of that Fist of Fury. Conan does end up popping a pretty big defensive right now. It is going to be another hamstring lead together with a charge. Does kind of limit Conan's future mobility for a bit here. Trying to see if he can maybe get super hyper aggressive with Sensei. Does he get to catch up? Recharge him back over there. But Conan has no help whatsoever. Maybe down for the count right now. Sensei trying to see if he can finish him off. Going to be big Fist of Fury. Most likely with a parry. Well done by Sensei. But it is going to be the Diabolicals. Wait, it is going to be so skillful as a Demonology Warlock. I love that scythe, by the way. That thing looks insane. But he's going to try to see if he can find himself a good angle versus Sensei. Does have a demon chasing after him. Imps around the corner, hoping to maybe fell barrage him back-to-back. Mortal sent him pretty early on with a fear right after. Allows Skillful to at least build a little bit of resources. Got himself a decent setup. Sensei is going to have to go for, I think, the most... I guess he's just going to have to find a way to outrun the demons. Try to see if he can put the demons in the corner. Single out so Skillful. Try to see if he can blast them out. And really, it's going to be down for Skillful to just, I think, maintain the army of demons best possible. Sensei goes in for big damage, but doesn't really have a way to really counter it. Skillful could go for a Tyrant right now. Actually, might be in a decent situation, at least to buffer the pets that he has. He does have the Obelisk together with the pets as well, so maybe it could be really good together. But instead, actually delaying that Tyrant until a little bit later does end up getting himself a pretty hefty shield. That's going to be wall to follow. No longer has a Dark Pact anymore. Maybe in a bit of tight spot. Second Felgar joins in. There goes the Tyrant. Nothing he can do. Sensei trying to see if he can karma away for Skillful. That's going to be yet another Axel. Shadow Fury does not really do anything at this point. Sensei got a lot of damage turning around versus Skillful. Does end up getting himself a little bit more healing. Needs mobility to escape the Monk, but the Monk got himself yet another jab in their final hit that he needed in order to take him down. With Blood Dagger going to be up next. Trying to see if he can get himself a proper go versus the Windwalker. Got himself a not diffuse, but a Ring of Peace as well as a disarm right after. Blood Dagger kind of limited on what he could really do. Trying to see if he can maybe get himself a go versus Sensei. Sensei does not have, actually no, he does have access to a trinket. He can get out of the next stun. It's going to be Dampen Harm. May not need it. Actually decided to go for it either way. Did not know what Blood Dagger was going to do damage-wise. He didn't see Shadow Blades or anything. I think might have seen a Cold Blood at the very least. Sensei did have a Dampen, but did not trust it whatsoever. And now he's going to be on a 1.5 minute DR with a human racial. So he will not be able to break out of stuns all that easily. I'm not really sure what that guitar is trying to do. Going to be opened up by Kid is shot by the Rogue onto Sensei. Cheap shot right after. Does have himself the Spore Cloak. Brocket as a shield, but Sensei did not need a trinket at the very least. Disarm to Blood Dagger, has a Fist of Fear to lock him down for just a second. Blood Dagger just sees a couple more globals, trying to see if he can chase up to Sensei. It is going to be Karma right after, trying to see if he can go for a bit of recovery. Does he have any more mobility? Any more ports potentially? Got himself lots of recovery though, only 200% dampening, so he's able to recover with Vivifies as well as with Expel Harms very, very quickly. Trying to keep the Rogue in combat as best as possible. Next Kidney Shot could be deadly. Does have Alexia for it. Trinket out of the Rogue. Could maybe go for a Cloak. Instead goes for a Shadow Meld. Does end up escaping Sensei. At least try to see if he can stay away from the guy as best as possible. Sensei is going to reposition back up top. Should have a Trinket back up for this one. Human Racial should be back up and online for the next big stump by Blood Dagger. Where's the Wen going? Wait, is the Wen chasing after like one of the mages maybe? Wait a second. One more tree, Kevin. He needs to join in. Kevin needs to join them next time. Oh my god. Cheap shot by the rogue. As he's got himself cold blood, maybe big damage. I think might have messed up his cold blood a little bit. He had the cold blood, but no secret technique to combo it into. Lexi with a blood dagger. This is gonna be big fist of fury. Maybe blood dagger might not even run secret technique actually. For all we know, does shadow step past Sensei, trying to make sure he can escape past the monk. Got himself plenty of mobility to zoom away from the guy. Blood dagger has himself a proper go here. Sensei, does he have the spore cloak back up by this point? Because that could give him a little bit extra survivability. Does go for the port before the rogue can set up a good go. Could go for yet another port right now. Has opportunity. Goes in for a jab instead. Fist of Fury trying to hopefully maybe stop the rogue before he has a proper go. Disarm right after. Delaying the rogue's go yet again. Going to be an evasion by the rogue. Just trying to see if he can stay a little bit healthy here. Get a shot at Sensei. Pre-dampen harms it. Big secret technique. Does still force the trick out of him either way with a karma blind to follow. The rogue actually got a lot out of Sensei. And if he's got a cloak, he could cloak this karma if he wanted to. Tries to go for a restyle. Does not get a proper go. It's going to be Lexi. Triggered by the rogue. Barely any health. Does have a cloak of shadows, but I think it might be over. Oh, touch of death at the very end with Nagatoro. As the last one, does Sensei take it here? Potentially. I think it's actually maybe a full sweep for Sensei. Might be a proper 1v5 fighting through the rogues, man. I guess he does have like only one rogue that he had to fight compared to the two rogues on his team. But I wondered, back-to-back rogues, Nagatoro just walks up next to him, ball him right after, backpedaling it out, got himself a big Pyroblast, trying to make sure there's plenty of range with a Pyroblast right after. Into combustion? Wait, was that like a lone cast Pyroblast for like a build or something? I guess if you have Pyroclasm, you could do it, right? But I don't know if you have Pyroclasm, but then big knockback onto Sensei does go flying as Nagatoro trying to see if he can punish him with a couple Pyros here and there. Is going to be an ultra time in order to catch up a lot of health. Sensei trying to see if he can chip away at the health. Hopefully, maybe with force cooldowns, big damage on Nagatoro. Does force a cauterize out of him. Nagatoro just died right then and there. There's going to be another fireball. Got a lot of damage for the monk. May decide to go for an ice buck here. Unless maybe Sensei, does he close in? Nagatoro no health. Does go for the ice buck. I was going to say for a second, one tick of Jade Lightning would have gotten him there. Nagatoro had no health whatsoever. It was all borrowed health. Does go in for a full ice buck into an in-cap right after. Oh no, Karma to follow. Can't even answer right now in a tight spot. At this point, yeah, Sensei just needs to push in, pressure, and there's nothing that can stop him. 5-0 by the Monkus. Well done, well done. My goodness. That was actually so close between him and the mage. I mean...